Okay, now we want to talk about how does the geosphere affect the climate, and we want to talk about what a rain shadow is. So that if you have moist air that's going in this direction, and now let's say that there is a mountain system that gets in its way, then as this moist air has to climb, it starts to cool off. And eventually it will reach a temperature at which it no longer can stay in the gaseous form. It's going to turn to a liquid and it's going to start to rain. And so sometimes by the time that this air gets over the top of the mountain, it's lost all of its moisture. So that on this side of the mountain, it's going to be very wet, but on this side of the mountain, it's going to be very dry. So this is going to be called a rain shadow over here. So it doesn't rain on this side of the mountain. Now it depends on how tall the mountain is. I can remember working in Lander, Wyoming, and so we were on the eastern side of the Rocky Mountains, and we would watch these clouds come boiling over the mountain, and you would swear that it was going to rain tremendously, but it never did, because by the time those clouds got to the top of the Rocky Mountains, they had lost all of their water on this side over here. So elevation is one way in which the geosphere affects the climate. Okay, another thing that the geosphere can do is it produces volcanoes. And then volcanoes produces gases. And there are basically two kinds of things that come out of a volcano. So one is going to be your volatiles, like water, and also CO2. So both of those are things that are normally gases. And we said earlier that those were greenhouse gases. So the more carbon dioxide and the more water that is emitted by a volcano, then the warmer the climate is going to be, because those are going to form greenhouse gases. They're going to trap heat. Now the other thing though that comes out of a volcano are going to be aerosols, dust. And so those dust particles, what they're going to do is they're going to block sunlight. So that if you've got a volcano over here and it's giving off the dust particles, then sunlight coming in is going to ricochet off of those dust particles and then go back into outer space. So notice that a volcano can do it both. A volcano can make the climate cooler because of the dust it's emitting, and then a volcano can make the climate warmer because of the greenhouse gases that's emitting. Now the primary thing that's going to happen when you have the eruption though is it's going to be the dust is going to cool down the climate first, and then in the long run the climate is going to get warmer because of the CO2 emissions. All right, let's take a break, and when we come back, let's talk about land mass position and global currents.